to meet these people. And myself, I taught in Sabah for 8 years in Sabah rural schools. So yeah, traveling to see these teachers will be a bit of a trouble and resource consuming. So we start with 6. The reason why we also interview trainers is because we see that trainers are in a very unique position. They receive training, they also give training, and they might be able to see training at multiple levels. Let's say they went to the national level. So they underwent training directly from people from Cambridge, and then they might go down and Cascade at state, and then they might be invited to join district or even school level training. So they are in a very unique position to see the whole picture, which is why we included them. And then once we collected the interview script, we analyzed them using thematic analysis, but we do it deductively instead of inductively. The predetermined codes, the predetermined themes are basically these stuff. So we didn't do it the classic inductive way where you go with the codes and then you try to group them up. Instead, we do it the other way around. Okay, then finally we compare what we found with what Hayes suggested over here and see if we have any opportunities to improve Cascade training experience for rural Sabah teachers. So this is what we found. Number one, most teachers reflected positive and reflective training experience, which is a very good start. Teachers particularly find the curriculum refreshing and that the training experience itself, they were given space to discuss and actually apply what they learned immediately rather than just a dry theoretical discussion and then a series of instructions to take back to the classroom and do. They don't report experiences like that. They also talk about they were given the space to reinterpret and apply the input for their context. Malaysia is such a different, you might have very different environment in schools, although we are in the same country. So when you give teachers this kind of space, it's very helpful. So these are some of the responses that they give out. I put this in verbatim. So they talk about things like, let's say that the last sentence, it is not just chalk and talk, but you get to try it out as well. And then the second one, the teacher talks about doing micro teaching and planning lessons, which is very important because teachers can immediately plan lessons based on what they are doing in their classrooms, what their students are capable of, which means teachers actually can adapt the input into their own teaching context. Okay, then we also see that teachers talk about it being easy to access expertise and help when they need it. They specifically talk positively about Telegram groups. Interestingly, because a lot of trainers, doesn't matter whether they are state, national, or district level trainers, they have a habit of setting up Telegram groups, and then these teachers get help from each other. They also mention certain things about going online and getting expertise from teachers outside, but still within the Malaysian system. Some of these teachers have websites and blogs where they talk about what they do in the classroom. So they found that useful as well. And this is a very good example of diffusion of expertise. Expertise does not just come from the trainer, but you might have teachers who have done a lot of work and they share what they've done. So it's also one way for them to get input to do their teaching better. And however, one thing that we discovered consistently from the responses of the people that we interviewed is there's a deterioration of training quality further down the Cascade level. I think if you're aware of Cascade, one of the issues is always about dilution. And what happens is that for the case of rural Sabah, the quality deteriorated in the sense that there's less resources, there's less time, and there's also issues like transportation, because in rural Sabah, sometimes teachers have issues coming out to attend training because they don't have a pickup truck, and then sometimes they are stuck in an island where there's no boat to come out and things like that. So they miss the training. So this is one issue that we discovered that is causing quite an issue with the implementation of Cascade training in rural Sabah. So this is some of the responses from the interviewees, verbatim. So they talk about they love being in a Telegram group. They really love it. Although some do talk about some of these groups degenerated into something else, become non-related to the CFR stuff, which made them leave the group. So that is one issue to look at. And then this is said directly by a national level trainer. Like this person attended multiple national level training and he cascaded at the state as well. So he said half of the content was not delivered successfully to the teachers. I don't know how he arrived at half, but the fact that he made such an observation might reveal something that we should take note about. So looking at the findings and what has said in the literature, so are there spaces for us to improve? Of course there are. So as a start, perhaps we could consider not having state level cascade. It comes with multiple possible positive benefits. Number one, when you reduce the level of cascade, you might reduce dilution, because dilutions usually happen when you have multiple levels. So when you remove state, that means national straight to district, you probably conserve more information to be passed down. That's number one. Number two, let's say we assign a national level trainer a state, and then they travel into every single district and give trainings repeatedly. Chances are they will become better and better as they train. So it might help in that way. And of course, when you skip state level, chances are you might conserve some resources that you can pass down to the district level or maybe school level. It does come with a downside. The teacher will be away from school or the places that he or she is in for an extended period of time. So there might be some sort of arrangement to deal with that. One of the issues about rural Sabah teachers is access. Sometimes you're in places where you really physically cannot come out for training. Either you cannot get a car to get out, and a car wouldn't make it. You need a truck, a minimum, a pickup truck. Sometimes you need speedboats and you just can't get out. So one of the ways we can address that issue, maybe we can do it online. Some rural schools have the internet capacity to do online trainings. Some with poor internet might need to consider things such as a self-access training, where they do the training within their environment with a standardized set of materials, and then maybe at a set of time they can come out and work with a proper trainer. And then of course, Telegram groups are amazing. It helps, although some of the issues about Telegram groups is some of these teachers, they talk about they are not sure whether the information is correct, and they were conflicting information about what is appropriate, what is not appropriate. So they're not sure. So that's one. And then number two, some of these groups, they degenerated into unrelated issues, unrelated topics, which also is a turn off to some of these teachers. So perhaps an official online community could be built to deal with this. Online community, we can have experts to verify things, to make sure that what was shared and what was discussed is actually correct. Or if there is any misinformation or something wrong, it could be corrected on the spot to avoid confusion, and then you can control the issue of dilution. And of course, when it's official, it can also be a good way to encourage diffusion. Maybe we can invite the writers of the curriculum to do live video sessions with the teachers and things like that. So you have diffusion of expertise, and people on a lower level of Cascade can interact with the people on the higher level of Cascade directly. Okay, so this study is actually published as a full paper. It has been published in a journal. If you're interested to read the study in detail, that's the QR code. You can scan and check it out. And that's pretty much my presentation today. I'm happy to open the floor for any questions.
Right. Is there any questions from the floors, from the live stream as well? Is there any? Right. Okay. So, Dr. Ong Jia Wei, thank you so much for your impressive efforts in preparing the slides.
Yep.
Right. So now we would like to thank our presenter once again.
Cheers.
And thank you also for the ladies and gentlemen who are here at the moment. Now we may proceed to the next session. Thank you, Doctor.
Cheers.
Doctor, can you bring back the slide for your first page?
First page. Sorry.
First slide, first slide. Okay, we wait for a while. We are closing the session.